great to have such a diverse group of people here together to discuss urban resilience in the region. And we are very, very happy to have you all here and to have this space to share some experiences, to discuss together, and to work together to continue building the urban resilience path in the region. So today we have a very interesting agenda with a lot of participation from UNDR and from many experiences from national societies of the region. So before we start, I will just remind everyone some ground rules. I want to ask everyone, please, to use the chat box to introduce yourself. I think many of us know each other, but many know. So please introduce yourself, your name, organization, and location through the chat box, so we can get to know each other a bit more. Another recommendation is please to keep your microphones off all the time to avoid any interference with the presenter at the moment. So please keep that in mind. If your connection allows it, please keep your camera on. It's great to see the faces. Now that we have to do these events virtually, sometimes we don't get to see each other. But if the connection allows it, please keep your camera on. And turn on your camera whenever you're going to speak, so we can see who's speaking. So if you have any questions, any comments, or any ideas to share, please use the chat box or raise the hand. Lucy and I will be moderating the session today, and we will be and we will give you the word as soon as we can. So please raise your hand or write in the chat box, and we will be giving you the floor as soon as we can. So now we would like to give the floor to our Deputy Regional Director, Gwen, that she will give us some welcome remarks to all of us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Catalina. Dear colleagues, partners, and friends, good morning and good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the IFRC Asia Pacific Regional Delegation, let me share my enthusiasm today by welcoming you all to the first ever Asia Pacific Urban Community Resilience Hub meeting. Colleagues and friends, as we witness the climate crisis, COVID-19, and an ever-evolving humanitarian landscape, understanding the urban context and enhance urban resilience, this remains as a critical cross-cutting issue underscoring our Red Cross and Red Crescent work, especially in Asia Pacific, which is a primary urban region. In the context of fast-changing and rapidly growing urbanization, urban communities worldwide have greater opportunities for growth and connectedness than ever before. Yet the number of people exposed to hazards, shocks, stresses is rapidly increasing, leading to bigger risks and vulnerability. According to the 2019 report of UN ESCAP, or the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, on disaster risk-scape across Asia Pacific, approximately 60% of urban residents in Asia Pacific, which comprises to 742 million people, are exposed to high or extreme disaster risk in the region. In addition to that, as stated in our IFRC World Disaster Report 2020, the Asia Pacific is by far the most climate disaster-prone region in the world. The implications of this is on city dwellers, and future humanitarian response to this impact will be significant. To mention some examples, a climate-induced sea level rise for 3 meters would affect 90 million people living in cities in the Asia Pacific. If we continue to urbanize without employing green-blue, nature-based solutions, the number of cities exposed to extreme temperatures will nearly triple over the next decades. The quarter of region's urban population that currently lives in informal settlements will be deeply affected, and also extreme and compounding events such as tropical cyclones, floods, and landslides will continue to increase in frequency and intensity. Population flows to urban areas induced by climate and conflict is also another one. It is expected to grow, especially, in large cities, increasing the existent gap in across to modern. A gap that has been acutely felt over the course of current COVID-19 emergency. Despite these multiple challenges, people living in the cities are themselves agents of change and have significant resources, skills, capacities to bring resilience efforts in their own communities and across their cities and districts. So we have to involve them. The IFRC and member National Red Cross societies have been increasingly present and active in towns and cities to serve the most vulnerable people and have made valuable efforts in recent years to support the development of more resilient communities in urban areas worldwide. These achievements have been acknowledged and strengthened by the Red Cross Red Crescent contributions in influencing the urban agenda at national, regional, and global levels. Furthermore, the IFRC Strategy 2030 recognizes the world's rapidly urbanizing context. The high costs if we fail to develop the right skills needed to act with the right capacities at the right time is markedly complex urban settings. But as mentioned before, I would like to highlight today the immense opportunity urban settings hold as the gatekeepers of our necessary humanitarian transformation, and what a future of getting it right would look like. So cities reveal just how interconnected the IFRC global challenges, climate and environment, disasters and crises, health and well-being, migration and identity truly are. And as humanitarians, we must understand the urban context in order to address this complexity with agility that is needed from us. In addressing the urban context, we evolve. We let go of old assumptions, recognizing community is not a geographically bound. We enhance our assessments of vulnerability and capacity with context analysis, climate smart solutions. We work hand in hand with communities, local governments, and city stakeholders to strengthen capacity of each and every Red Cross and Red Crescent National Society at the branch level so that each can effectively prepare for, act early, and respond to the impacts of climate-related extreme and slow onset events in the urban context, as well as invest heavily in methods to foster holistic community resilience and adaptations. The future is already underway in Asia Pacific at the local urban level. The Urban Hub, with its objective to establish strong connections, develop knowledge and skills, and strengthen organizational resilience, is here to facilitate our way of working together as a region. I see in this 2 days meeting as a springboard to a vibrant year of bold, ambitious, Focus collective urban work ahead. This is what I see, that we have to focus on the next 2 days. The number of national societies with urban focal points, the partners who have positively responded to our invitation is very encouraging. But also the highlights, it also highlights the importance and timeliness of this topic that we're going to discuss. The need for collective ambition and local action that put resilient communities at the center, colleagues and friends, is very urgent. Today's first regional hub meeting marks the beginning of an exciting road ahead for all of us in our work in urban resilience. So thank you to all colleagues who helped in putting this meeting together, which I felt very timely and very important, and to all the experts who are joining us today and who have also supported us for your great contributions, and to all participants for your interest and great commitment. And I wish us all a very productive meeting. Thank you. Over to you, Catalina.
Thank you, Gwen. Thanks for your words, your encouraging words to continue the work these couple of days. So we will continue now with, and we go into the objectives of the meeting and continue with the agenda. So, okay. I hope you all can see my screen now. Yes.
Yes, very clear.
Perfect. As Gwen was just mentioning, the importance of this meeting is basically to work and towards building urban resilience in the region, and the objective of this meeting is precisely to convene all the Asia Pacific national societies, IFRC, and key regional urban stakeholders to strengthen this urban hub network and to highlight the ongoing urban resilience work, because there's a lot of work going on right now that all the national societies are doing, and they have a lot of experience, lessons learned that will be great to share amongst us. So that will be basically the objective of today. And tomorrow we will also have an agenda that we will see in a couple of minutes in more detail, to also identify the capacities, needs, and technical support the national societies have for working in urban areas. So basically, we want to for you to feel the hub as yours, and for you to engage actively in all the work that we do from the Urban Hub, and to have this platform as a way for sharing your experience, your knowledge, and learn from each other, and together to work and enhance urban resilience in the region. So for the agenda today, we have the introduction, welcome remarks, and agenda. Now we will have, after this short introduction, who's in the room activity. We will follow with some Mentimeter questions, just to get to know each other, to know who and to know what is our idea of the urban work the national societies are doing, the challenges, and get to know a bit more on what is going on, and start the discussion. Then we will have just a brief discussion on these results, and we will go into a presentation of the urban context and the urban hub presentation from the regional office, with the presentation as well from the small grants initiatives that we are supporting from the urban hub. Afterwards, we will have the UNDRR Making City Resilience and Making City Resilience 2030 initiative presentation. Our colleagues from UNDR will join us for for this presentation shortly. And then we will have a short coffee break before we go into the presentations from the national societies. We will have presentations from Nepal, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And I'm sure we will learn a lot from their experience and their knowledge. After we finish the presentations, we will have a question and answers section where we encourage you to while you see the presentations, please keep your all your questions, your comments on the side, and when we finish the presentations, we will go through the questions and answers, and then we will have a short wrap up of the session today and the closing. Lucy, do you want to introduce the agenda for tomorrow?
Gladly, thank you, Catalina. I'm Lucy. I'm the Urban Risk Management Coordinator for IFRC Asia Pacific Regional Delegation. Warm greetings from Kuala Lumpur. Yes, for day one, today we're going to really dig into what is transpiring currently within the region, what activities have already taken place, what's underway, and day two is really where are we going, and we are going to co-create that together. So we will start with a recap from day one, followed by a very exciting, comprehensive Climate Center presentation on all of the really wonderful tools and materials available for you to support your national society's urban activities. We will introduce you to the IFRC regional urban priorities, what these really entail, how they affect your work, and then we will dig into these priorities and really find what they mean for us as a hub through the breakout groups, which will be centered around climate and environmental action in the urban context, crises and disasters, health and well-being, migration and identity, all in urban areas. And then we will have a urban hub road mapping session all together, bringing all of day 1 and 2 into one regional plan of action with a quick see you later and next steps. So I hope you're all very excited. I know I'm excited. That's the agenda for day 2. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, now we're going to get to know all of the experts with us today. And these experts are all of you. I really liked how Sunhee started today saying, look at all the friends I have here. I really want everyone to feel this way by the end of our 2-day meeting together. And I know it's a bit, I don't, when you're joining a meeting, you don't really want to put yourself out there, but let's just warm up a little. It would be great if you could turn on your cameras and engage in a little who is in the room activity with me. Oh, look at all these lovely faces. Good to see you all. All right, so I don't know if you're all familiar with this game, but essentially, I will ask a question. You start with your thumb over the camera, and if it's a yes, then you reveal yourself. So I'll start off with a warm-up. Okay, everyone put your thumb over the camera. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Mansoor, I don't see your thumb over the camera. All right. So first question of the day. Reveal yourself if you have already had a cup of coffee. Oh, so many coffee drinkers here in the room. Cheers, cheers. All right, second question. Yes, feel free to take a sip. Good. We all want to be caffeinated for our meeting. Okay. Second question. Who here is joining us from South Asia? Nice. It's tricky. We can see each other by this right. I'm not, actually can't. I don't know how to scroll through everyone. Okay, who is joining us from Southeast Asia? Okay. Who's joining us from the Pacific? I think I see a few people, but I don't believe you actually. Raise your hand and introduce yourself if you're from the Pacific. Quiet. Who here has worked in a megacity?
When you say megacity, what's your definition?
And who here
Did you say megacity?
Did you ask for a definition? A megacity is typically a city with a population of more than 10 million people. All right. And reveal yourself if you've been exposed to a heat wave. These are just some warm-up questions for us. Also, importantly, are you able, everyone, if you could just say hello and answer yes, or if you can use and access the chat, because, or maybe raise your hand if you can't. I see some, I think my directions were confusing. You cannot? No, you can't. Okay, that's unfortunate. Catalina, tech guru, do you know how we can fix this?
Let me just check with our tech support, and we will let you know.
Okay.
Not sure why is that, but I will let you know.
All right. Great. And I invite, in the meantime, does anyone else have a burning who's in the room question to get to know each other? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I think Colin has the hand raised.
Colin, please.
Not anymore. I forgot to raise my hand the first time.
Okay.
All right. So thank you for indulging us all in this brief Who's in the Room activity. Like I said, it's really wonderful to see all of you here today. And we have a few further questions, and we'll ask you to join us to answer them on Mentimeter.
Yeah. So let me just now go, now I will share my screen. And you will see a couple of Mentimeter questions. I'm not sure if all of you have already know how to use Mentimeter, but it is really easy. Let me just show you. So please go to menti.com. Let me write it here. Sorry, it's charging. It's just loading. It's taking a while. Well, let me just go back. There. Sorry. Okay. I think now is good. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Perfect. So please go to menti.com, as it is there in the screen, and use the code that is showing there, 147823332. I hope you can see it. I will put it in the chat box for all of you. menti.com and code. Sorry. Uh-oh. Well. Oh. So I hope you can already access. And please respond to this. We just have 2 questions for you. The first one is, how does your national society or organization contribute to urban resilience? So please let me know if you have any issues accessing Mentimeter, but if not, please go ahead and give us your answers. Good. Okay, answers are coming through. We have 6. This is for Cash Hub and Urban Hub through the extensive local network. Okay, developing global policy, guidance and frameworks and urban settings. Capacity building to the community members and providing small-scale mitigation. Okay, those are great inputs already. I think we have more. Providing technical support to national societies, joined actively during public discussions and citywide assessments, implement DRR programs, engage, this one? Okay. Work with national societies to increase capacities, resources for Cash and Urban Hub through the extensive local network. Well, I think we have interesting responses already. We have 12. Should we give a couple of minutes more for everyone to access? Perfect. PRCS is implementing a pilot project on urban community resilience into areas of Karachi. That is great. I think we'll know more about that project shortly. Another project focusing on improving urban resilience in schools, and Philippines Red Cross as well, involving community members in the implementation of different programs and holistic approach. Well, we have great and interesting responses here. Indonesian Red Cross Society, with the support of various movement partners as Japanese Red Cross, are implementing also interesting projects. Perfect. I think we have a good number of responses so far. So we will now go to the next question. Thank you so much. It's really good. It gives us a good start for our conversation today. Great to know all the interesting things that are happening in the region, and we will get to know more later today. So let's go for the next question, and is, what are the most challenging aspects for your national society or organization when working in urban areas? So let us know what are those challenges that you think are sometimes they might complicate or make a bit difficult to deliver the programs in urban areas. We want to know what are those challenges so we can also discuss about that. So waiting for your answers.
Maybe there's no challenges. Everyone. Okay.
In society, okay. Economic aspect, behavioral, engage external partners, funding, too many players, political aspects, economical aspects, coordination with stakeholders, funding, advocacy. Okay, community engagement.
Data management.
data management, increasing population. I saw somewhere. Oh, community engagement is getting some relevance among the different answers. So it's interesting to see this.
Urban migration as well.
Okay. Including refugees, funding, less involvement of people.
Okay.
Great. It's interesting that community engagement and urban migration are at the center. So that gives us some ideas for our discussions later.
Definitely.
Perfect. I think we have already a good number of answers, so we can go ahead with the. We're just in time for a short discussion. Lucy, I don't know if you have any questions about these responses that we got.
I'm just trying. I can no longer see this screen as I'm trying to admit Florian in here, and it looks as though my screen is stuck. But I invite all of you maybe to discuss some of these in terms of what you're up to. As Catalina already said, I mean, there's such a diverse array of inspiring activities underway. And these kind of could be grouped into providing technical, programmatic support, coalition building, advocacy, community engagement. And then we see here a lot of the challenges are involved in are linked to the actual implementation of this work in urban areas. So from engaging communities to identifying beneficiaries, those in need, urbanization, increasing population, coordination. There are also some aspects of our work, including IAM-related topics, surveys, and financial aspects, which are still impeding our work. And today, after our coffee break, maybe I invite the group. Could you raise your hand if you want to share some of these particular challenges and your experience as national societies? Before we move to our coffee break, we've been very efficient. We have 3 minutes, and I'd rather hear from you than hear my voice. Anyone want to raise your hand and expand a little bit on some of these challenges? Yes. I see a hand. Kamalendu, please go ahead. Our colleague Kamalendu Das from Bangladesh. Would you like to unmute yourself and share some of your challenges?
Hello.
Hi.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Morning.
Okay, this is Kamalendu Das. I am working with Swiss Red Cross. We have a project that is implemented by Bangladesh National Society, Bangladesh Red Crescent Societies. So we have a project in urban area. So I want to focus on challenges, that is the urban migrations. Mm-hmm. So like the urban poor, there is within the community, there is always migration in and out. So it creates some changes in terms of the community mobilizations. Also, there is a challenge in terms of monitoring. Like you provided you develop a group of people, empowered a group of people, and they moved very quickly. And unlike the rural areas, the social structure is not also very stable. Like people coming in and go, especially in the slum areas.
Yeah.
So it creates some, especially in the community mobilizations and later on in the project management side monitoring, and also some cases the beneficiary selections. So this type of challenge is totally different from the rural area. On the other hand, most of our policy and framework, especially targeting the disaster that is hitting the rural area, and sometimes this policy and framework also does not fit the urban context. So it's in brief. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to share challenges here that resonate with them? Atif, please go ahead. I can see you're unmuted, but we can't seem to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Good morning.
Okay, I will just continue and second my colleague who just mentioned about policies. I think it's more about the tools and templates we're talking about. It's more specific and mostly fit in the rural context than in urban context. So like the VCAs we do, so that's mostly fit in the rural context. So we are really looking forward to do it in urban context and contextualize it as well. Like the new concept of EVCA, I hope that will also fit in the urban context as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing. We're looking forward to sharing updates with you in terms of where we stand with the tools currently underway that are being adapted or have been adapted for the urban context. Anyone else have another point to share?
Asma has her hand raised.
Please, go ahead, Asma.
Okay, thank you so much. Basically, just to continue what Atif has said, basically, if we see that we had a pilot project on urban community resilience in Karachi that is being supported by the German Red Cross. And, for any project implementation, assessment is the base. And once we were starting that program, it was the great challenge that once we went to the community, we were not able to use the ODK kits for the assessment. Likewise, the security agencies stopped us to use any sort of GIS maps. So this type of challenges definitely work a lot, because when we are not using our tools, templates, or you can say the gadgets, we were not being able to identify exactly what are the risks and the hazards. So this was the major challenge what we have faced. And likewise, in a single community, like in Pakistan, we used to call a mohalla, like 8 to 10 houses living in the same vicinity is called the mohalla. In one mohalla, there was diversified issues, like one, two houses need the proper sanitation and water, and another one maybe having electricity problem, or might be in slum areas there are some identification issues. So in urban context, definitely it's very challenging and difficult to work in, rather than the rural setting. So these were the challenges what we have faced during the ICR program. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. These inputs have been really wonderful, and they tee up our discussion post coffee break really nicely. In fact, I don't think my presentation on the urban context is needed anymore. You've made me obsolete, but we'll dig into that in about 5 minutes, right, Catalina?
Yes.
So
let's back in 5 minutes. Just
grab a cup of coffee, take a little stretch. We see each other in 5 minutes, and we'll dig into the urban context and what that means for our work. See you in a bit.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Should we go ahead?
I think we have a couple more minutes, right?
Sorry, I maybe.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we can see.
Thank you. This is always this is a trade-off, then I can't see anything in the chat or see anything behind the screen. But I think according to our agenda, we will resume at 10:50 for this, correct?
And actually, I think it's just time because it is quite
Okay.
hard. I think we can go ahead.
All right. Is everyone back with us? Maybe just...
Yeah, I am back from Nepal.
Lovely. Wonderful.
Yes, we are here.
So good
We
to
are
hear
still
everyone's
here.
voices. Okay, perfect. So, as discussed, we're going to speak a bit more about how we are currently managing and addressing urban risk in the Asia Pacific, and how the Hub is supporting these efforts and supporting your activities as national societies. Why urban? I think I'm preaching to the choir here a bit. I think that everyone who is here today already understands the urgency of addressing the urban context and operating in urban settings. As we heard this morning by the Regional Deputy Director, we are a primarily urban region. We're the fastest urbanizing worldwide, currently home to 60% of the world's population, the majority of the world's megacities. As Jalil Lone, GRC Urban, DRR delegate based in Dhaka, said, urban is the new rural. This is really the context in which we are currently operating and we will continue to operate in. And as we become increasingly urbanized, so too do the disasters and crises affecting us. So it's important to understand the urban context, and a number of national societies already do. You're here today, so you've been increasingly present and active in cities, in urban settings, and serving those most vulnerable. And you've made such valuable efforts in recent years to support the development of more resilient communities in urban areas worldwide, especially here in the Asia Pacific. So even though a lot of this work is definitely underway, and we saw that with the Mentimeter results today, this is still very much an emerging topic within the movement. And so the urgency to address humanitarian assistance at the urban scale is very clear. But this is just a brief overview so we all get on the same page, although each urban context is different. There are some similar red threads. So understanding these red threads and understanding the urban system and the humanitarian actors' role within it is key for us to address these. So to begin with, if there are three takeaways from today when you think about urban context and what that means for your work, I want you to think of the 3 Ds: density, diversity, dynamism. So urban areas are characterized by complexity and can be boiled down into these 3 Ds. So let's begin with density. Urban areas, as you all very well intuitively know, have a higher proportion of built-up area within defined municipal administrative boundaries. Density also means there's a concentration of services and amenities, so we can expect administration, government, hospitals. And studies show that dense cities also have higher levels of productivity, more innovation, shorter commutes, better access to services, green space, cheaper provision of public services, all of these things, all of which contribute to community resilience. But the flip side of this, as we've also seen from COVID, density can be an accelerant for the rapid transmission of disease or misinformation. Densely populated cities can make those most vulnerable, the poor, the marginalized, as discussed previously before the coffee break, the undocumented, the invisible, difficult to target and to support. And density can also have positive impacts for our work. So humanitarian response can have a bigger impact in one area. But studies also show historically, humanitarians do not cope too well with the density of actors in cases where crises affect large numbers of people. Hence, stakeholder mapping and coordination, building strong coalitions, which we will speak more about today and tomorrow, are really key. Diversity. What makes cities thrive is really their unique diversity. So unlike rural areas, and we also discussed this, we heard from our colleagues in the case of Karachi, community is not only defined geographically, but it can, within a small area, you can have diverse communities. You can have multiple communities, and communities not only geographically defined, but also communities of interest, culture, resistance, or function in terms of livelihoods can be connecting either spatially or virtually. So the city is a web of multiple stakeholders, including various community networks, local government, community-based organizations, multiple layers of systems and power structures at play. And then last but not least, the urban context is constantly in motion. We spoke about this as well in terms of migration this morning. So we're talking about highly mobile populations, market-based populations with diverse livelihoods and income opportunities. So unlike rural, where we're going beyond mostly agricultural livelihood opportunities. Cities host dynamic interlinkages between actors and systems. So the built environment is intertwined with political, economic, and social layers. So rural and urban areas are also sharing populations, and we're seeing this more with seasonal migration and also increasing as a product of climate change, extreme weather events, and crises. And last but not least, in addition, the urban environment and its inherent complexity can make city systems and residents more or less vulnerable. So we see this, and we can discuss these over the next days, for example, through cascade effects. So a flood can lead to systems disruptions like power outs. I know our colleagues from UNDRR will also dig into this a bit today. So what we know about urban are these 3 Ds, right? And we also know that urban environments are constantly in motion and are themselves quite resilient. We spoke a bit about how, although this is still an emerging topic, we're still learning from one another's good practices, we're collecting evidence, we're testing new approaches, and this is also why we're here today. Of course, each national society is unique, but there have been and there are currently resources and tools as well as initiatives that are being designed so that are fit for purpose to assist your national society's engagement in the urban context, ultimately for resilient urban communities. So as we also heard in the case of, and from our colleagues in Bangladesh as well as Pakistan this morning, context is everything in urban environments. We really, when we need to understand, we need to already assess the context in which we're going to be operating. This begins with, we have tools ranging from the citywide risk assessment to the enhanced vulnerability capacity assessments, which now are tailored to be a bit tailored towards the urban context, stakeholder analysis tools. We've got also urban demands, more geographic targeting and urban vulnerability mapping, as well as scalable approaches. So looking at cash as a modality, also linking into social protection systems. Coalition building, we also heard this morning. Coalition building is so crucial as the urban context is so complex and multi-layered and hosts a wide range of actors. So the beauty of working in such dynamic and diverse spaces is the ability to create synergies between stakeholders. So we will talk about how the Making Cities Resilient in 2030 initiative is going to serve as a really key springboard for this coalition building for you over this coming year. And then last but not least, urban programming tools to support your urban community resilience exist, as well as more tailored guidance, for example, for urban hazards such as heat waves are there to support your branches, as well as the recently launched Urban Action Kit. We will watch that space. We will have the colleagues from the Climate Center join us tomorrow. Here's a sneak peek at some of the tools that you will be introduced to. And of course, the UNDRR Making Cities Resilient 2030 initiative is going to be a very important entry point for us as a movement. A resilient city is a risk-proof city, and we are really pleased. IFRC is one of the 11 core partners that form the Global Coordinating Committee, and Asia Pacific Regional Delegation is a member of core partner of the Regional Coordinating Committee. MCR 2030 is really going to be an instrumental opportunity for your national societies, including branches, to connect with your city officials for local level coalition building and joint resilience work. A key message of MCR is that building resilience at the city level requires assessing all those interconnections and how to interact to prevent, reduce, or create new risks. And this type of assessment is an added value national societies can very much provide. So UNDRR colleagues will share more on this exciting initiative later on today. And this is just to remind you that all of the work you're doing on the ground, of course, feeds upwards and directly contributes to, supports, and drives global ambition and action. Here's an overview of key global frameworks, which I believe you all know, which recognize the importance of urban climate action and disaster risk reduction, including the Sendai framework, SDGs, especially SDG 11, the Paris Agreement, New Urban Agenda, and the Grand Bargain Agreement in its commitment to localization. So all of these really recognize the need to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, calling on the empowerment of local actors, local authorities, communities, to really engage and realize the change we need so urgently to see. And of course, the Grand Bargain and its commitment to localization. We need more support and funding tools for local and national responders, really to make our work as humanitarians as local as possible and as international as necessary. I also really like this brief snapshot because it represents the fruits of a much longer, hard-won road that cities and local actors, non-state actors, have fought for the recognition and inclusion of this urban dimension, right? Because we're just looking at most recent, but this work has really, it dates back to the early 1990s with the with the Agenda 21 and things like this. So I like looking at it because it inspires me when I think about IFRC and our potential and where we are headed. So currently, as a movement, the urban context is gaining traction. It's an emerging issue, but we do have still a ways to go. So as Deputy Regional Director Pang shared, our IFRC Strategy 2030 recognizes the need for urban local action. So specifically where you see these references, you'll see them for challenge number 1. So which this addresses and references drivers of vulnerability. So in livelihoods, food shortages, health, climate-related displacement, we need to understand and address these drivers also in urban environments. And in addition, global challenge number 2 recognizes that if we do not act, this will come at a high cost to lives and livelihoods. And we need to develop the right skills required to operate impactfully in the urban context, to be there at the right time. So as a movement, we still actually do not have a movement-wide urban strategy. This is something we are currently working on and will need your input. We wish for you to shape this together with us, so more on that to come. But if we take a moment and we really look at these 7 transformations, 5 challenges, 3 goals, if you really take a moment to soak all of those in, cities will be the primary setting where these challenges and transformations and goals in the Asia Pacific will be met. And the Asia Pacific Urban Community Resilience Hub is really here to help support this journey. So without much ado, I give the mic now to Catalina to please tell us more on how the hub is here to support us as a platform and a network.
Hi, Lucy, thank you. So now we will, as with the great introduction that Lucy gave us of the urban context and how the IFRC is working in urban areas, we want to go in a bit more detail on how we are working in the region through the Urban Hub in Urban. So maybe just for those of you who might not have been involved in the Urban Hub before, just to give you a bit of context, this is an initiative led by IFRC, by the National Societies in Asia Pacific, supported by IFRC, and it started after revision at the regional level of how could we work better in urban areas. So basically, they, after a consultancy and some surveys from done at the regional level, the conclusion was to create a hub that will allow to coordinate and connect in their work in the region, enhance knowledge sharing and peer-to-peer exchange within the Red Cross and Red Crescent and beyond, and operationalize urban learning. And with a strong orientation towards partnerships and innovation. So basically, that was that is why the hub was created, to enhance these networks that will allow us to work better together in enhancing urban resilience. So if we can go to the next one, Lucy. So to briefly explain you, the objectives of the hub are three. After this, as I was mentioning, after the consultation done with, I think we have, yeah, sorry.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, wait a minute.
I'll just.
I don't know. I think Mansoor, can you help us? Because we have a, let me just share my screen here. I have it.
Yes, sorry, Catalina.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, we're back. Can we go? Great. So the first objective is to strengthen the connections among urban resilience actors in Asia Pacific. So the idea is to have basically through these kind of activities as the meeting today, and through through a very cohesive network of focal points and urban actors, we can create a quite comprehensive network of urban actors in the region that will allow us to work together and learn from each other. So this additionally relates to coalition building at the city level. And basically what we want to promote is for national societies to engage in urban, in city networks and urban coalitions, so we can work, so they can work together with different stakeholders and understand the dynamic diversity and density of the urban context. So basically, this is the first objective. The second objective is to promote knowledge sharing and evidence base. So through this network, to basically share what we have learned and promote evidence-based programming for urban areas. And the last one, but not least important, is to improve organizational resilience through a continuous process of learning and adaptation to a changing context. So basically, to promote the national societies to continually improve their organizational systems to respond to urban challenges. So Lucy, we can go ahead. So how are we doing this? This is not completed yet. This is a mapping process that is going on. We know there are much more urban initiatives in the region, and we are actually collecting that information right now. And that's why we ask as to the focal points from the different national societies to complete a short survey, so we can have more information about the urban programs that are ongoing in the different countries. So I will take this opportunity to ask you, please, if you haven't completed this survey, please I will be sharing the link after at the end of the meeting today if you don't have it, but I will. So you will please complete the survey and we can continue building this mapping of urban initiatives. If you and okay, perfect, thank you. So, and how are we doing, and what else are we doing to basically achieve these objectives that we were discussing? One thing is the Urban Hub virtual space that you will find in the Prepare Center. So this website is a virtual space where we are collecting relevant information, documents, and experiences from the region, and you can access and consult the information there. We also have a news section where we update on the latest events from the Urban Hub. And we announce as well there is some initiatives or funding opportunities for the national societies related to urban. So please go and check this website. I know some of you might not have access to the chat, and we're trying to figure that out with IT. But we will be sharing this link as well through an email later after the meeting finishes. So you can also, if you haven't accessed the website, to please go in and check it. And the other and very key point for the work that we're doing, sorry, Lucy, we can go to the one before, thank you, is the thematic network of networks. So basically what we want to also encourage you today is to check what is your national society interested in sharing experience or learning from others. And because tomorrow we will have a bit more of discussion on that topic, and what we want is for the hub also to be the center of this thematic working groups. So national societies, any of you can say, okay, my national society has experience in heat waves. We want to work and we want to share and we want to learn more about how we can improve. So we can create a thematic working group of national societies around this topic, and so on. So any interest that you have, any ideas that you have, please share it with us, because that is how the hub, it can expand the work as well in different areas. Lucy, if we can go ahead. Lucy?
Yes.
Thank you. So last, for the last point on how we operationalize urban programming in the region, is that the hub launched last year in September a call for proposals for small grants, and the national societies, we received proposals from different national societies from the region, really interesting projects. But finally, the two proposals selected were from Mongolia and Pakistan. And the amount of the grants were 10,000 CHF, and right now they are in implementation, and the projects will be finished by 30th March. But they will tell you more in detail just as soon as I finish my presentation. Lucy, so right now, just to finish my presentation, we want to encourage you to share your stories, evidence, good and bad, and any practice in urban with us, so we can share it through the hub website, we can share it through thematic working groups, and we can learn from each other. Additionally, to lead and participate in the technical working groups. So just contact us, and tell us how do you want to engage. And we will be having some webinars later this year. So if you have ideas or if you want to present a specific thing, please also join us. Okay, so let us know and we will be happy to work with you. So without further ado, here are our contacts. Here's our contact information, and we will be sharing these presentations as well. So you will have all the detailed information. And without further ado, we'll give the floor to Asma Mansoor. If you can now go ahead with the presentation from Pakistan Red Cross. They will present on the small grant projects that the Urban Hub is supporting in Pakistan, and later we will go with Mongolia. Asma?
Okay, I'm here. Basically, I was expecting Mongolian to be first one. So.
Oh, sorry. I think I mixed. Yeah. Sorry, but is it okay for you to go ahead?
Yeah.
Great.
My screen.
Sorry, yeah.
Do you see my screen? My screen is there.
Yes, it's here. It's here. Thank you.
Oh,
I can see you.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving Pakistan Red Crescent the opportunity to present at first. Okay, on behalf of Pakistan Red Crescent, basically, I just wanted to share a few things before I jump into my actual presentation. This small-scale grant initiative was basically being implemented by the Pakistan Red Crescent Society at the provincial level, that is the Sindh branch of the Pakistan Red Crescent. And it's being technically supported by the Federation, definitely. And unfortunately, at our provincial level, there are two focal persons who are basically the implementers of this small-scale grant project. But due to some of their emergency situations, they are not being able to attend this. So on behalf of Pakistan Red Crescent Sindh branch, I'm going to present this presentation as a lead focal person from National Headquarters. To start up my presentation, I just wanted to share few glimpses that what is basically the PRCS journey from DRR to resilience. Like since inception in 1947, once in December 20, on December 20, 1947, PRCS came into being. Later, till 2005, PRCS was being involved mainly in the response activities and health activities. Definitely, earthquake 2005 changed the paradigm of the country as a whole. And then we have switched from reactive to proactive approach. And Pakistan Red Crescent, along with definitely at the government level, being switched to work on the community-based disaster management things, community-based disaster preparedness. Like the disaster word was the buzzword to cater for. Later on, we jumped into the community-based disaster risk reduction and CBDRM things. And for that purpose, we properly developed the community-based disaster risk reduction module for that, which is being adopted by the regional CBDRR manual. And then later on in 2014, we have jumped onto the IP approach, like integrated programming approach, and we have successfully implemented the 2 phases of integrated community-based risk reduction program. Like from here, we have just seen that it's not only the disasters. We have to cover many more in terms of risks and hazards, and we have to go for the reduction of all those. So ICBRR is basically a whole sum of the health, WASH, disaster related, and livelihood, and many more. And in 2020 till to 2021, now PRCS is focusing more to strengthen community resilience by adopting the Federation framework for community resilience. Definitely R2R is the base for the PRCS upcoming resilience programming. And for that purpose, we have revised our the earlier developed community-based risk reduction module into strengthening community resilience, and which is almost in the final stages, and definitely we are going to share it with the region for the inputs. So if we see PRCS is having a huge and enriched experience of implementing the community-based risk reduction programs, but definitely in the rural context, and for urban, we are very new into the game. And if we see that for ongoing urban resilience initiative, other than this small scale grant, PRCS has already been implementing a pilot project in the urban community of Karachi, and under this ongoing project of improving community resilience that is being supported by the German Red Cross. Likewise, there is another program which is focusing more for the improving urban schools. Definitely WASH is the highlighted area in the schools, especially in the metropolitan city of the Karachi, where there are numerous the urban slums are there. Besides that, definitely the PRCS is having the emergency operation centers there. They have already organized awareness sessions on the climate change adaptation, first aid training, and more importantly, Catalina has shared number of times about the heat waves. So if safely, I can say that since many years, PRCS is, especially the Karachi branch, is mainly involved in the implementation of the heat waves. So we can say that we have now a very good experience of handling this heat wave terminology too. Okay, moving back to the Urban Community Resilience Project. As you all aware that under the call of proposals on small grant initiatives from the Urban Hub APRO, PRCS together with GRC and Federation has developed a small scale proposal to implement in the 7 districts of Karachi. Basically, here I just wanted to emphasize that for us, Karachi is one city, but it's being divided into 7 further districts. So the aim was to cater the 7 districts of Karachi with the available funding support of 10,000 CHF, and definitely the implementation period was December to April 2021, inclusive of reporting timelines. And the idea behind to develop this project was to develop something on the existing base or the foundation, nothing to start such short-term project from the scratch. So we have developed the project based on the existing capacities, outreach, ongoing initiatives, and the dire need of the Karachi city being at the risk from diversified disasters, either it's natural, human-induced, industrial accidents, terrorist activities, civil unrest, and many more. This is basically the targeted districts of project. What we are talking about, like there are 7 districts like West, Karachi Center, East, South, Kimadi, Korangi, Malir, and they are facing diversified hazards. Like from, if we see for South, they are more vulnerable to the tsunami areas. Then in the central area, there are other civil unrest and the human activities and many more. Okay, the basic goal of the project was that PRCS is going to enhance its capacities to contribute in improving urban resilience through improved management system for capacitated, equipped, and well-connected human resource. Because we were having a feeling that, okay, fine, we are having a system or the structures, but definitely they are not that much capacitated, equipped, and well connected. So we have defined a goal that after this project, we are going to have a capacitated, equipped, and well connected human resource in all the 7 districts of Karachi. And the goal was basically defined based on the needs of the project, that since Karachi Sindh has already managing the emergency operation center and the emergency response force at the district level, but definitely these structures were available at the 5 districts, and the 2 districts which were emerged later on were not being addressed, and these systems are good enough to respond, but definitely there have some deficiencies, and there were few things what we need to update, revise, and you can say more in connected way. So we have defined that there is a need to establish and train same structures in remaining 2 districts like Karangi and Kemari out of the total 7 districts of the city, and we have to rearrange the refresher training for the existing emergency response force on the various preparedness and response section, and to the most important, to establish a strong connections and linkages with the relevant line departments. Like relevant line departments could be the disaster management authorities, the civil defense, the first aiders, the firefighting agencies, and many more. So we are going to develop a resilience and we have to respond and function effectively and efficiently when there is a need. And all this project based on the needs identified was developed and the activities were drawn on the 2 outputs. Like for output 1, we have trained and equipped emergency response teams that are in place at district levels to support urban preparedness and response section in coordination with relevant department. And under this output, we have placed 6 major activities with a number of the sub activities. And likewise, the output 2, that emergency response teams and the relevant line departments have improved coordination for effective emergency response through an effective communication mechanism and adopted EOC software or a linked mobile application. Basically, as I earlier said, that we have not developed this project from the scratch. We have something already which is being functional and working. So we try to build on, and we have to you can say strengthen the existing one. So for the functionality of the emergency operation center at Karachi, we do have some sort of roles and responsibilities, mechanism, and software. But here we are going to try to link it with the more relevant departments and with the mobile application too, because you know the mobile through the mobile application we are going to target more and more. And from the developed outputs, we are expecting that the proposed project will enable PRCS and government response system to build on each other capacities. Like we can identify the gaps where the PRCS can chip in to support the government responses and to contribute to effective and efficient response for vulnerable population, and having the volunteer force structure, because you know PRCS is lucky enough to have a huge volunteer force across the Pakistan, and we are even available in the form of volunteers at the most remote areas. So having these volunteer structures at all the district level, and which are going to be linked up with the city emergency management system, the community resilience would be improved, and PRCS will definitely have the trained functional emergency response force structures at all the districts with the readily available equipment, which increase the outreach as well as the quick response capacity by mobilizing these structures. And last but not the least, the strong connections of emergency response force with the city emergency management system, which definitely enables PRCS to have well coordinated efforts for improving the urban resilience. Okay, as I earlier said that we have started this project by the end of Sorry,
Asma, I have to ask you just to quickly wrap up. I know you're almost finishing, just to remind you on that.
Okay, just because this is going to be my last slide, that So far, this project has been in the execution phase in the last week of January, and so far we have done few activities in which you can see on my screen that we have already had a coordination meeting of all the stakeholders. We have already revised our emergency SOPs, and we have already identified and orientated our volunteers like the emergency response force team members of the new 2 districts, and from next week we are expecting to start our trainings, and hopefully by the end of the March we are going to conclude our project. So this is the short brief what I can share, because unfortunately I'm not the direct implementer, so I just collect all the information and share it with you all guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asma. It's great, really good to see all the interesting project, all the project itself, and all the great activities that are going on. We have a lot of clapping here in the with the reactions. That's great. So thanks for sharing. I think Pakistan Red Crescent has done an amazing job. For the pressure of time, I will just ask Undram if you can share your presentation, and maybe we will have just a quick session of Q&A just after Undram's presentation. Undram, can you go ahead, please?
Yes, hello everyone. Hi,
yes.
I'm Undram from Mongolian Red Cross Society. I'm in charge for social care and inclusion program here at the National Society. Yeah, thank you for giving this opportunity for sharing our activities from our side. So please see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, looks good.
Yes, okay. I will try to brief and quick. Mongolian Red Cross Society is implementing the project of improving the resilience and livelihoods of the families who migrated from rural to urban areas with the support of IFRC Urban Hub since November 2020. My presentation will include the following points, which are my country background and about my society and project background and main actions we are taking, and also the expected results. Okay, so before I talk about the project, I want to introduce briefly about my country. Mongolia is the landlocked country located in Central Asia. We are bordering with the China to the south and Russia to the north, and 18th largest country in the world. Our population is only 3.3 million, and 30% of them is nomadic. Ulaanbaatar is our capital city. Statistically, 46% of the population living here in Ulaanbaatar city. However, it's already reached to 60%, by unofficial statistics. Now it's briefly about our national society. Mongolian Red Cross Society is established in 1939 during the Hot Cold War. We are the national humanitarian organization with the law on the status of Red Cross and auxiliary roles to the government. We do have 34 Red Cross branches over the country and 517,000 members and supporters. We have 1,400 trained volunteers all over the country. Before I move to the project background, I want to share about our country context of the migration. Like we do have very different migration context compared to other countries in Asia Pacific. Like Mongolia is the country of destination and country of origin, as well as we do have the large internal movement in the country, which is like flowing rural to urban area. There are many reasons like people are migrating from rural to urban areas, such as like seeking a job and changing lifestyles and studying, etc. However, the most like common reason is the seeking a job and improving the livelihood, because the most of the families and herders lost their livestock during the like unique disaster only happening in Mongolia, which is Dzud. Like Dzud is the like extreme winter situation only happening in Mongolia. Like after coming to urban area, the former herders and families, migrants are living in very vulnerable situations in urban area, like which leads us to implement this small project among the migrant community. So our project goal is to improve the resilience and livelihood of the family who migrated from rural to urban area. The project is focusing on the 30 families who lost their livestock to the Dzud and seek employment or wishes to change their current employment. We are currently focusing on 2 districts, which is the suburb districts has the many migrants, like official migrants and unofficial migrants. I mean, the unregistered migrants living in this area. So we are focusing on the on these 2 districts, and our project is started in November 2020, is going to finish end of this March. However, because of the COVID-19 and its lockdowns, we are facing many challenges, but we are still focusing on our project actions and activities. Our project is focusing on this following actions: the selection of the family who migrated from the rural to urban because of the Dzud and seeking a job. We do have some criteria for the families, selection criteria, and we have already selected our 30 families, and we did the small disaster risk assessment. We did the small home visit to see their life and where they live and what is the disaster risk for them, and we assess it there. Based on the assessment, we are going to conduct the training on the disaster risk reduction and resilience among the participants. This training will include the more some activities to assess their disaster risks and how to improve their resilience, etc. And our next action is the documentation. The most of the families who are living here is unregistered and they lost their like official documents. So we are supporting them to have their official documents, to have a public services and etc. And then we are planning to organize the life skill and business management training among small businesses or to start their small businesses here in Ulaanbaatar city. And then we are planning to give some small grant for their startup businesses and their ideas, and giving some technical supports to improve their livelihood and to start their job to improve their livelihood and life here in urban area. And we are really expecting that we can prepare the Muslim family and improve their livelihood and lifestyles, and maybe they will of course actively participate in the social activities. And also we are like hoping that we will create a more strong community engagement between the Red Cross and other partners, and also with the community. Yeah, that's all about our project, and we will share our cases and case studies after the project completion. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thanks for these brilliant presentations, both of them. I think Catalina had some tech difficulties, but are you with us again, Catalina?
Yes, I'm back.
Perfect. I mean, as a next step, I know we're running a bit out of time, but we still want to include some space for you all to pose questions. For me, I think two main takeaways, which I really appreciate from both of these initiatives. Good advice from our colleagues in Pakistan that we don't have to start from scratch. We really build on our existing capacities and strengths and tap into these activities, ongoing activities, infrastructure, partnerships, which already exist in urban areas, and amplify those. And then in the case of our colleagues in Mongolia, although you started off saying you've got a different country context, there are so many valuable lessons to take from how you think in terms of the rural-urban continuum and how you have combined DRR community-based training with sustainable livelihood programming. So thanks so much. I now invite everyone to pose your burning questions, comments.
Lucy, if I may, I know for some of you the chat might not be working, and our IT actually is looking at that at the moment. We don't have a solution right now. Maybe for tomorrow's session, I will recommend you to download Teams on your laptop and connect through the app directly, because that might be the reason why you don't have access. But if you have any burning questions, raise your hand and we will give you the word.
Yeah, then actually, Catalina, not questions, but actually, thank you very much to the presenter from the Pakistan and the Mongolia, because they did the very great job, because the fund is very small, but using that fund, they have utilized the local resources and they are doing the very fantastic job. We are also participated in that small grant initiatives, but but we were not selected at that period. We had a series of discussion with the Catalina and the team. So the congratulations to both of team. You are doing the very fantastic job. Yeah. Any supports needed from the Nepal Red Cross Society, because we have so many tools and experience in the urban context, we will be happy to share with you through this network, this platform. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for Nepal Red Cross. Basically, if we see, we already have a signed twinning agreement with Nepal Red Cross. So definitely we will looking forward for the support by the from the Nepal Red Cross in terms of the urban resilience. So get ready to share the support.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Catalina, I believe you're on mute.
Thank you. I see a hand raised. Kusakabe, sorry. Do you want to ask any questions?
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation and organization. I would like to ask to the presenter from Pakistan Red Cross. You have mentioned about mobile application as one of the activities, and could you please explain more about the application contents? For example, is it for the Japanese to the Red Cross staff and volunteers, or just for the people in the urban areas for receiving the information about the disasters or some hazards, etc.? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Basically, I just wanted to share that at the very initial phase, we definitely are going to have this mobile application for our emergency response force teams, definitely with what we are linked up and amongst the stakeholders. And because, you know, we are in the piloting phase. So based on the success or any sort of lessons learned, in future we are going to revise the strategy, or because at Pakistan level we are having some sort of security issues. We are not allowed to share any such messages on the amongst the communities. So we will see how we can start through our emergency response force and the other stakeholders, and then how we can go further. So as a pilot, we are definitely restricted amongst our stakeholders and emergency response force.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Perfect. Sorry, Joe Lam. Sorry, I think we're actually a bit late on our agenda. If it's a short question, please go ahead. If not, maybe we can wrap it up at the end. But please do go ahead with your question. Let's this will be our last question for now. Sorry for the pressure.
Okay, it's just a short question. So I'm Jordan from Hong Kong Red Cross. I'm appreciative with Mongolia and Pakistan's projects, but I wonder why I'm so surprised. The project period is only half years, and I want to know more about the small grant applications procedures or periods, because the project is so short, only 6 months, up to 6 months. So I want to know more when Pakistan or Mongolian Red Cross to apply the small grant applications. How long did they go through the whole procedures, and what criteria they can or Urban Hub can approve such projects to implement? Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. I will give you a quick answer, sorry, to that one. This was an initiative that the Urban Hub launched last year in September for all the national societies to present their proposals. The idea is for the small grants is to be kind of a seed funding to initiate or support. For example, Mongolia is initiating this kind of project and building on their experience, and Pakistan is building on a project that was already going on and supporting and enhancing some parts of it. So it's a kind of a short project, small budget, very specific to kind of support specific urban initiatives. But the first call was done on September. But we expect to be able to have other rounds of small grants, and if we do, we will let you know. Perfect. Thank you, Joe. So we are a bit late on our agenda, but we will go now. Lucy, do you want to introduce our next speakers?
Gladly. While we're on the subject of important initiatives, you've all heard my drum roll about making cities resilient. We have our wonderful colleagues with us today from UNDRR, Iria and Omar, and they will take us through, hello, they'll take us through first a regional introduction to UNDRR's wider activities addressing risk in the Asia Pacific, and then Omar will take the floor to introduce you to how national societies can engage in the Making Cities Resilient in 2030 initiative. So please, Iria, take it away. Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, everyone, and good morning. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this works well. No yet? Okay, let me make sure. Okay. Hopefully now it's working. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. It's not
Perfect.
yet in presentation mode.
Not yet?
Yes, here we go.
Perfect. Again, so thank you again, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. And thanks again for the opportunity to join you today on this meeting of the Asia Pacific Regional Hub and allow us to learn more on what is happening already and what is planned under this initiative. And I can pass my slides. What's going on? For some reason, I've not been able to move my slide. Let me try here. Okay. Okay, now it's working. So to set the context of the discussion, I would like to share with you some statistics on urbanization and disasters, which highlight the rationale for investing in urban resilience. So as you very well know, climate change is altering the pattern of extreme events and making them either more intense or more frequent. And while there are some progress in reducing disaster-induced mortality, we know that the socioeconomic effects of disasters are clearly increasing. The damage to infrastructure, livelihood losses are increasing, and they are driven by environmental degradation, poverty, and they are resulting in disruptions to social services, widening inequalities, and increasing poverty. You have shared already all the figures on urbanization around the world, and you're well aware that now the world is predominantly urban, and at present 3 times more of urban dwellers are estimated to live in least developed regions as compared to more developed ones. So in terms of the urban projections, those are also very important to let us know what is coming in the future. So those point to the fact that in the lower, middle, and low income countries, urbanization will continue to be experienced, and fastest urbanization rates are expected in the coming decades. In terms of disasters, the exposure and vulnerabilities are growing. The location of settlements and economic activities in hazard-prone areas is driving this exposure and vulnerability. And vulnerability of people on poor, overcrowded, and underserved settlements is definitely a challenge that needs to be given more attention from the humanitarian community, from climate change adaptation community, and disaster risk reduction communities. UNDRR promotes a systemic approach to risk management at all scales, including local level. And as you were very well discussing earlier, vulnerabilities are dynamic, especially in the urban context. And risk is really systemic. And this understanding of risk as a systemic issue requires looking at the cascading and the interconnected nature of risk. And as it was illustrated during the pandemic, the hazards and their impact can compound and cascade down to other sectors, affecting lives and well-being, from a hazard-initiated health hazard to loss in income opportunity, job losses, disruptions in the education, healthcare system. This really means that at the urban context, the disaster effects, as some of your speakers were mentioning, really compound and collide with many other social risks. And they end up resulting in complex crises within the crisis. So urban poverty, as you are very well aware, is among the root causes of disaster risk and also of the differentiated impact of disasters. Marginalization, limit decent work opportunities, unemployment, lack of social protections are all issues that are really making that the urban poor are not only more exposed and vulnerable to disasters, but they're also undermining their capacities to prevent, to anticipate, to respond, to recover from crisis, and making them bear disproportionately the cost of the disasters. At the urban level, this systemic lens to understand risk really implies that we need to look at cities as systems of systems, like from the infrastructure systems, from the education systems, ecosystem systems, and with multiple connections, multiple interlinkages. And those all need to be very well understood in this approach to build resilience at the city level, understanding the interconnections, how they interact, either to prevent and reduce risk or to create new risk if they are not very well managed. And building resilient approaches really need to look at these interconnections of systems and levels and be a whole of society endeavor. UNDRR advocates of multi-level, multi-hazard disaster risk governance approaches, calling to find the right scale for action, depending on the challenge to be addressed, acknowledging, as you very well pointed out, like the linkages between urban, peri-urban, and rural, and the importance in food security and food and supply chains, and also keeping this focus on strengthening the resilience of systems, either resilient infrastructure systems, resilient health systems. And to promote these multi-level disaster risk governance approaches, UNDRR supports the implementation of the Sendai framework, calling for local disaster risk reduction strategies, which are aligned to the national adaptation plans, to the disaster risk reduction strategies, and they promote strengthening of these vertical linkages between the local governments, the national governments, and all the different stakeholders that participate in this multi-layer governance system. And through regional and global level stakeholder engagement and mechanisms, UNDRR advocates for this inclusive risk reduction approach. Through our normative work and advocacy, we continue to place emphasis on resilient infrastructure, risk-informed land use planning, and urban planning, and nature-based solutions for leveraging the ecosystem services to protect cities against resource depletion, climate change risk, and extreme events, as well as integrated approach between climate change adaptation and disaster risk reductions, because there are some efficiency gains in this integrated approach. And this is just to give you an overview of what are the different areas of work and how we see the issues in urban and risk. And now I will really would like to pass the floor to my colleague, with my colleague Umar, who will explain you more on the Making Cities 2030 initiative. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Iria. And I am going to share my screen so I can show my presentation. Can everybody see it?
Yes, great.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So thank you very much for inviting us to be part of this meeting. I'm a big fan of IFRC and UNational societies, and it's really great to be here to learn more about what you're doing to support urban resilience. So my name is Omar Hussein Amesh. My day job is as the External Relations Officer for UNDRR Asia Pacific based in Bangkok, but I also support the MCR 2030 Secretariat, and that is the regional secretariat for the initiative. So MCR 2030 is a 10-year initiative, and it's aimed at helping cities build their resilience. It started operations this year and ends in 2030. It is a follow-up to the original Making Cities Resilient campaign, which ran from 2010 to 2020. And as it was nearing its end, there was a series of consultations with cities and partners on what to do next. And overwhelmingly, the response was that the work on urban resilience needed to continue, and that we needed to really integrate the lessons from the campaign into this new initiative. So those lessons are reflected in MCR 2030's strategic objectives, which I have listed here. And the first is to help cities understand their disaster risks. The second is to build capacity so cities can develop local disaster reduction strategies or plans to enhance resilience. And then the third is to help them implement those plans. And the third objective is new to this initiative because in the previous campaign, there was really no focus on implementation. Also new are the cross-cutting objectives. So we're hoping to enhance the links between local governments and national governments because in many cases, cities need national support to really scale up their work. And also strengthening the horizontal links, and that is between the local governments and the different stakeholders at the city level, so we can have a multi-sectoral and all-of-society approach. And lastly, it's really to connect cities together to foster mentorship and peer-to-peer learning. So what will MCR 2030 include? One of the big takeaways from the previous program was that resilience is a big topic. So cities usually don't know how to approach it. They don't know really where they stand in terms of, are they resilient or not? What stage of resilience are they in? So MCR 2030 introduces a resilience roadmap. And this is a roadmap that cities can follow depending on what stage they're beginning in. It also brings in partners and supporting entities to help these cities. So these organizations are usually ones that already are working on urban resilience in some aspect. We also have a regional network or governance structure to try and help focus these partnerships. And that's the Regional Coordinating Committee, which I'll touch on later. MCR 2030 also includes a suite of services, tools, and knowledge products that are available to cities. And these are all things that are provided by partner organizations. So things that they already have that we then try and make accessible to cities. And the way they gain access to these knowledge products, tools, or potential services is through an online dashboard that we developed. And this dashboard also allows cities to record and track their own progress along this resilience roadmap. And once cities are on the dashboard, one feature that we hope to introduce soon is a registry to better link them with commercial or private sector service providers. And I'll touch on that more later. This chart presents an overview of how MCR 2030 works. So at the top, we have the three main objectives: know better, plan better, and implement better. And then below that in yellow, you can see that the cities are classified into one of three stages according to where they are on the resilience roadmap. So stage A, B, or C. So stage A is for a city that's just starting and they're trying to understand what is resilience, what is risk reduction. So a lot of the activities associated with that is around raising awareness and advocacy. And then stage B is really the more operational stage. And this is when they actually start converting that political commitment that they made into actions such as conducting risk assessments and then developing plans based on these assessments. And then stage C is where implementation starts. And this is where we try and link cities with different partners who can support implementation. The green part, these are the areas that cities have highlighted to us as needs that they have. And so when we've made the call out to partners to list some of the services or tools that they have, it was really to address those needs that cities have communicated to us. And then at the bottom, we have the cross-cutting themes that I mentioned earlier. So cities can join at any stage. They don't necessarily have to start at stage A. So a city, for example, that already has a local disaster risk reduction plan and is just ready to implement can join at stage C. How the placement is decided is based on a quick self-assessment tool that is accessible on the MCR 2030 website, and cities have to complete it as part of their sign-up process. And once placement is decided, then they get access to certain tools and partners based on what stage they're in. So MCR 2030 is co-owned and co-delivered by its partners. We are a member of the Global Coordinating Committee. As was mentioned, IFRC is also a member of one of the core partners, in fact, and is a member of the Global Coordinating Committee. And I have here all the logos of different organizations. But I think what's more relevant is who we have at the regional level. And so at the regional level, we have a number of supporting entities or supporting partners. And these are organizations that are already in the region and are working on urban resilience in some aspect. So right now we have a small number of such entities, and they make up our regional coordinating committee. But starting March 15th, we're going to open up the process for any organization, NGO, and so on, to sign up and become a supporting entity. And this includes, obviously, the national societies in coordination with the Urban Hub. Here's the list of current members of the Asia Pacific Regional Coordinating Committee. This group currently is co-chaired by UNDR's Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific and ICLEI South Asia, and includes IFRC Asia Pacific as a member. So one thing I mentioned is the role of the private sector. Some of the feedback we received from the original campaign was that cities need access to specialized services from the private sector that they don't have in-house. So to address this, we plan to present a registry that companies and some research centers can join to list their services and expertise, and then leave it up to the city to then connect with them and agree on terms of service. So the Secretariat will not get involved in these negotiations, but we at least want to be able to provide the means for them to connect. And another thing that we are hoping to do is really encourage partners to scale up their work by working with national governments and municipal associations so that they can reach multiple cities. So from UNDR's own experience, we've done this with the government of Mongolia, working through NEMA, their National Emergency Disaster Management Agency, and in Bangladesh with the Municipal Association of Bangladesh, really to have a trickle-down effect of reaching multiple cities with the help of the national authorities. So the main entry point for cities and partners is the MCR 2030 website and dashboard. In January, we opened it up for cities to start signing up. In February, the core partners and the members of the Regional Coordinating Committee were able to join by invitation. And as I mentioned, starting March 15th, any organization can become a participating entity, except for commercial service providers who will be on a registry later on. So once you go to the website and you click join, you'll see at the bottom two small buttons, one for cities and then one for organizations. And I'm assuming this presentation will be shared later. And so I've added here direct links to the step-by-step guidance that we provided, first for cities and then for organizations that want to become participating entities. So for the national societies or even local government agencies that want to support local urban resilience in their countries, they can go in and basically just create profiles and then list the services and tools that they have to offer. And they can even limit the access to these tools so that only cities in particular countries have access to them, or cities that are in particular stages. And this is something that obviously the national societies can coordinate through the Urban Hub. And once cities and entities have gone through the sign-up process, they gain access to the dashboard. And there they'll be able to see all other cities that are similar stages that they are in, connect with them, and organizations can also see what the needs are that cities have highlighted, and where they are also on the roadmap to see how to best support them. And with that, I just want to say thank you again for inviting us, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, both. Thank you, Iria, for this lovely overview, very succinct. What we can expect within the region. Hazards are less predictable, exposure is growing, vulnerability compounding. And Omar, thank you so much. I would be interested in a quick show of hands, if you could raise your hand, if you believe that your national society can help cities know better, plan better, and implement better. I think you're all being a bit shy. I don't see any hands raised yet, but I believe you're being too humble. In any case,
Lucy, sorry, Omar, just thank you very much for your good presentation towards our national societies. Actually, in Nepalese context, we are closely working with the governments of Nepal. NDRRMA, National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority, already has been formed last year. and we were closely working with them. And last year in 2018, there was AMC DRR conference in the Mongolia, and two best success stories from the SURE program, Strengthening Urban Resilience and Engagement programs implemented by Nepal Red Cross Society, was selected, and that was those both case studies were presented in the AMC DRR Mongolia. This means we are together with the government. We need your technical supports in the coming days as well. Thank you very much for your good and fantastic presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And now, one thing I would add about Nepal actually is that I got an email into the Secretariat inbox a couple of days ago from USAID Nepal asking about the cities that have signed up to be part of MCR 2030. So I think even on the donor side, there's interest in supporting cities that sign up. So I think there's definitely room for collaboration there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
And just to let you know, we will have a whole webinar dedicated exclusively to MCR and how national societies can engage in this initiative. So watch that space, and I will definitely relay the presentation, all other materials your way after this meeting as a follow-up. Catalina, I believe you're going to introduce some more exciting presentations in store for us, right?
Yes, indeed. We now will go to the National Society's presentations. So I will ask Rudra Adhikari, who just precisely was talking. Rudra, if you can
please,
from
my side,
if you can
okay,
you can please start now.
It is, sorry. Is it visible? Sorry.
Perfect.
Is it visible? Can you see here?
Yes, you can see perfect.
First, thank you very much, Catalina and Lucy, for this great opportunity to Nepal Red Cross Society to have a presentation with the Asia Pacific Regional PNSS and with the colleagues about the Nepal Red Cross Society's initiatives in urban disaster risk resilience and disaster risk management. I will try to finish my presentation limiting in the 50 minutes time, and I have together with me, we have the Durga Rai. Actually, she is the Urban Resilience Program Manager from the British Red Cross. If anything missing from my presentation, she will add more information during our question and answer session. Now, actually, I want to highlight the urbanization in Nepal. You can see some fact and figure that the urbanization in Nepal is growing rapidly, leading the risks and vulnerability in this context. And we can see here in 1981, only 6.3% of total population were residing in the urban area, but this percentage is now in 17%. And then finally, it is projected that within the 25 years of time, the projection of rural and urban population will be half. This indicates that urbanization is growing in Nepal, and actually the vulnerability and the risk is increasing in the urban cities, so that it needs more efforts in the urban resilience programming in Nepal. Actually, second slide, it highlights about the country context, and then the Nepal now is practicing the federalism. If we consider the Constitution of Nepal 2015, it defines Nepal as a federal democratic republic. And then we have the three tiers of government at the moment. We have local governments, we have provincial governments, and we have the federal governments. And actually, we have 753 local governments. Out of 753, we have 460 rural municipalities and 293 urban municipalities. And we have 7 province governments and 1 federal government in the country. As per the current constitution, constitutional provisions and Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act 2018, the power and responsibility are given to the local and provincial government for effective disaster risk reduction and management in Nepal. Actually, I can highlight some things is that now the authorities to engage in the disaster risk management is totally with the local governments. so that it has been easy to engage with the local governments for the disaster risk reduction and management in the country. And then at the moment, the federalism is activated within the 2 years. It is very short time, so that municipality means the local governments actually, they are most seeking the technical support from their federal and provincial counterparts and from the other development stakeholders as well for hazard mapping, risk monitoring, risk reduction, and mainstreaming DRR into the development. This is the expectation from the local governments to their within their counterparts and the development partners as well. And actually, if you can see the in these slides, you can see the country Nepal disaster context. Actually, you can find here that the out of the 192 countries, Nepal is in the 22nd positions in the humanitarian crisis in the different types of disaster. And then we can see here that 30th in the landslide floods ranking, and then 11th in the earthquake, in the climate change. And you can see here that the Kathmandu is the 21 most vulnerable city in the world. By this situation, we can imagine that the Kathmandu city is most vulnerable across the globe, and we have to initiate many of preparedness and response initiatives for anticipating the future disaster in the Kathmandu in Nepal. Actually, the current situation of the municipal governments on disaster risk reduction is very less. Yes, for the discussion and yes, for the observations with the local governments, they have the enough resources with the local governments because they have the authority. And then, but the priority in the disaster risk reduction is comparatively less than the other development program. Yes, they have the priority on the other infrastructure development, but actually they have the less priority on disaster risk reduction and management. And actually, in the Nepalese context, yes, SURE program, we have developed many kinds of tools and the guidelines and the considering the urban communities and urban assessment, but from the government side, we don't have appropriate assessment and DRR planning at the moment. And then the lack of urban knowledge and tested tools requiring the substantial investment and adaptation. Just we are doing the urban assessment, but we don't have covered the environment degradation, social economic vulnerability. Those types of things are not incorporated. Sorry.
Is that I think we are still in slide 1. And if you can move it forward, please, because
sorry. My internet is very slow, I think. Yeah, no, I will try.
You want to share?
Yeah, I will share, please. I think my internet is very slow now. Yeah, can you see my slides now?
We are still in slide 1.
Slide 1. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm trying to make this. Yeah. Yeah, I will try again, please.
I can share if you want me to share.
Yeah, you can share, please. You can share from your side. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Catalina, you can share from your side.
Perfect. I think I'm now sharing.
I think it's coming. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, tech difficulties.
Really, in my presentation.
Yeah, it's taking a while here.
Yeah.
Lucy, can you help us maybe trying to share your screen, because I think mine is blocked. It's not responding, actually.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. In the meantime, I will also find your presentation, just in case.
Yeah. Open. Yeah. I'm trying here.
Sorry for the tech inconvenience, but well, it's part of the.
I am so sorry. No. Yes. Yeah.
We can
I am trying now. Yeah. I think now it will be visible. Just a moment. Yeah. Slideshow from the beginning. Can you see here now? Can you see?
Not yet.
Is it visible? Visible to you?
No.
No. Yeah, I think it's coming. I think very slow connectivity of networking. Is it okay?
Not for me.
No, no, at the moment.
We prepare for this and we test everything, but
sorry.
But
Yes.
well, these things happen. So let's.
Please wait for a moment. Yeah. Is sharing. Yes. Let's share my card. This time, is it okay?
Yes. That's great. We're on slide 5, municipal government on DRR.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here in this slide. So that the governments have the less priority on disaster risk management, and at the moment they are seeking the support from the government, peoples, and the stakeholders on disaster risk reduction and management. And in the country, actually, an auxiliary role to the public authorities with the government. The expectation of governments toward the Red Cross is high, and this need to be fulfilled from the Nepal Red Cross Society. And from the beginning, we are always together with the government, and we are initiating urban disaster risk reduction management activities within the country. This is our background, and that's why Nepal Red Cross Society is engaging with the urban community. Just this provides some historical backgrounds and the backgrounds. Actually, the Nepal Red Cross Society initiated its urban disaster risk reduction management program from the 2007. At that period, we implemented community-based multi-hazard risk reduction program in Kathmandu Valley, and that was completed within the 2009. After that, based on the learnings from this program, we have started earthquake preparedness for safer community. That was EPS program, and it was implemented from 2014 to 2016. And this program was especially the single hazard focus in the Kathmandu Valley, because we can see that the Kathmandu Valley is the most vulnerable city across the globe due to the earthquake. So that we have initiated this program. And then this program already phased out in the 2016, and 1,000 numbers of trained responder provided the very big support in the 2015 in Nepal. We can have the very good excellent examples and case studies, and we can share later on to you based on the after action review from the EPS program, and then the learning from the past experience from the defense program implemented by the Nepal Red Cross Society. And now we have implementing strengthening urban resilience and engagement. That is the SURE program. This program was started from the 2017, and it will be completed within the 2021 August. And this is multi-hazard focus program, and we are working in the 7 most urban municipalities in the country. This is our progression. Can you see my presentation slides? Catalina,
yes,
can you see?
Sure,
yeah,
logic
thank you.
intervention.
Yeah, actually, logic of intervention. Actually, under the SURE program, we have 3 major outputs. One is more focused on community of the urban communities, and we are trying to enhance the disaster risk reduction and management capacity of the community people, and a series of several of activities are implementing targeting to those community. And another outputs, we are trying to enhance the disaster risk reduction management capacity of the municipal ward offices. Ward office is the last milestones of service delivery of the governments. The ward offices are located in the local community. That is the government last unit. And there we are trying to strengthen the disaster risk reduction and management capacity of the ward level, ward municipal. And then another outputs is that we are trying to enhance the capacity of municipal governments on disaster risk reduction. And then we are providing many of technical supports to the municipal governments and the ward officially as well. And yes, in the Nepal, actually many of organizations saying that the SURE program, actually Nepal Red Cross Society SURE program is the good program modality. Actually, we have such types of program modality. We are working with the 4 municipalities in Nepal. Under each municipality, we have already did the urban assessment, that is the BCA, and then we have already find out the multi-hazards, what are the risks, what is the vulnerability of the people. Based on that, we select each 3 wards in the each municipality. 3 wards are selected in the each municipality, And then within the wards, we have the good model that we have 20 champions. Champions are the interlocker between the service providing agencies and within the community as well, so that those champions are trained on urban DRR and they are mobilizing in the local community to disseminate the urban messages towards the community for the resilience building. Under the every 20 champions, we have the community there. And actually in the urban context, it is difficult to identify the communities, so that we are working with the elderly people, people with disabilities, single women headed household, Janjati, Dalit, landless, state vendors, people with living in the river banks, and unemployed youth. Comparatively, these types of community or these types of group are most vulnerable there comparative than the other groups, so that these are our target groups and we are engaging with these groups. And actually SURE program develops the resilience of individual and the community and the organization. We are working on that parts, and we are working with the community people, we are working with the champions in the local community, we are very closely engaging with the local clubs, cooperatives, toll Vikas Samitis, community-based organization, and then the other formal and informal networks in the urban cities. And then we are working with the municipal wards, we are working with the municipalities, school students, and the external audience as well, our partners. For example, we are working with the development partners as well in the local community. These are our key stakeholders and audience are the beneficiaries of this program. And then within this 4 years of intervention, we have so many interventions in the local community. For example, first we did the urban assessment findings. We have developed our plan of action, our logical framework, and program implementation plan we have developed, and we are executing as well. And we have formed the champions group, and they are trained and mobilizing in the local community. Advocacy is the good initiatives from the Nepal Red Cross Society and the SURE program. We have developed the advocacy training, guidance, and curriculum. Advocacy training are developed, provided to the local community, and the local peoples are having a regular advocacy with the authorities and development partners to fulfill their needs and to reduce their vulnerability in the local community. And participatory campaigning planning is the good process to design the urban DRR messaging, and that case study was already presented in the AMC DRR in Mongolia in 2018 as well. And we are having the awareness creating activities by using the different media and using the different tools, mitigation and medium scale mitigation based on the urban assessment finding and the need of the community people. School-based DRR and safer school initiatives are happening in the local communities, urban communities. DRR governance, this is the very good initiatives from the Nepal Red Cross Society. Actually, we are providing the technical support to the local government to formulate act, plan, policies, guidelines, and capacity building initiatives are happening together with the municipal governments. Likewise, additionally, DRR mainstreaming into the training package. We are doing that. Emergency equipment is stockpiled in the local community, anticipating the better response of the upcoming disaster. Contingency plans are developed, and those plans are tested through the simulation exercise. And we are supporting to enhance the capacity of the local emergency operations center and the district emergency operations center that is established by the government of Nepal. And we are collecting, documenting, and disseminating the learnings from the SURE program with the wider stakeholders. Cross-cutting themes we are highly considered, leave no one dead. We are strengthening the local level DRR learning center in the local level as well. Actually, we are working for the resilience of the people under these targets. We have the very good and wonderful results at the moment. You can see here. Just I want to highlight some major summary information. Actually, to the date, from the beginning, we reached with the more than 10,100 people, 63% female community people benefited by the directly and indirectly from the urban DRR initiative in 7 municipalities. And during this COVID-19 period, we covered more than 300,000 people from the COVID response activities, and 481 beneficiaries are supported and continue their livelihood initiative in 7 municipalities, because in the urban context, livelihood is one of the major things. So that based on the assessment and findings, we have initiated that activities, and 469 people are benefited. And then we have provided conditional cash grant support directed for the 178 beneficiaries in the urban communities. Seasonal calendar in the leadership of the local community people are developed, and they are implementing in the local communities. 500 advocacy acts by the champions are instigated, and out of 500, 57 advocacy are succeed and other are ongoing. The monetary value of the advocacy acts is more than 100,000 Nepali rupees. That will be the $200,000 to develop their advocacy plans, and then they are going to the municipal governments and they are visiting to the stakeholders, and they are having the advocacy. These are our issues. You have to allocate the fund, and we are ready to have the community mobilization, and getting this fund, we will address our issues. And there are the social security issues also. Community people have provisions the social security from the government, but they are not aware about that, so that our champions are having such types of advocacy to access in order to assist in the government fund and the social security as well. This is the fantastic result under the SURE program. Another, actually, we have trained more than 300 and 500 responder. For you can hear that we have the urban assessment risk reduction volunteers. We have actually the advocacy volunteers, first aid cadre, national disaster response team, district disaster response team, assessment coordination team, immediate rapid assessment. In this area, we have developed more than 300 and 500 volunteers. And then another important thing is that vulnerable people and the champions are now risk informed and have adopted and demonstrated DRI initiatives, and they have the knowledge to prepare the go back during the emergency period as well. And then they have the advocacy knowledge and skills as well. And then our champions, actually champions, I have already explained that those are the mediator, and they are representation in the government planning process and then the government decision making process as well. And then 92% average 92% of the SURE fund is directly invested in frontline activities with the objectives of building resilience of people, so that we are strong for the value for money in terms of effectiveness and equity as well. And more than 180 champions are trained on urban disaster risk reduction, and they are disseminating the messages in the local community. And then in total about 8,000 teachers and students are benefited by the school safe practice program. And then under the resilience of services, we have 3,400 trained first responder are mobilized in the 7 municipalities during the COVID-19 flood response and landslide and windstorm preparedness and response. Really, the job of our volunteers is fantastic during the disasters for the immediate response as well. And then 113 user-friendly hand washing stations are installed in the school premises and the local community, and those facilities are handed over to the local governments and the school management committee, anticipating the sustainability of those facilities. And then actually 96 number of medium and small scale mitigations are implemented in the local communities, in the urban communities. And actually the fund from the governments and the community participation is also ensured at that period. In total, 31% of the fund is allocated from the governments and 11% is from the community participation, so that we can say that the community participation and the collaboration and co-funding is ensured in the SURE program. Emergency equipments are procured and stockpiled in the local community, anticipating the better response in the future disaster. And sensitization for the sectoral departments of the local governments are happening, so that they have the data knowledge and they are responsible for the budget planning and allocation from the regular budget from the government. And then the resilience of institution, we have some good results. Are you together with me? Resilience of institution. I am here in these slides.
Okay, Ruda, sorry to bother you. Just to remind you that we are a bit behind time. If you can wrap up in the next 2 minutes, please.
Okay, I will complete this. And resilience of institution, we have the good results here, and we have developed some very fantastic tools. We have urban assessment tools and guidelines, value for money, strategic framework and documents, and advocacy curriculum we have developed here. And then we are transforming our knowledge to the government. Actually, our urban assessment tools and the guidelines, our strategy are owned by the government of Nepal, and that has been a part of the government policy and guidelines, so that this is the good practice from the SURE program. Another, our good practices are replicated from the other programs, other NGOs and INGOs as well. and we have implementing many a program from the disaster management department, and other programs supported by the other partners national societies are implementing, and they're taking the reference from the SURE program. And we have some learning that the multi-sectoral coordination is required in the urban context. Urban risk assessment has to be more strengthened and more scientific for the vulnerability and pandemic. And then our city resilience framework will be more defined. These are some lessons learned, and then we have some way forward. Referring to the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, we have to ensure the more funding for the urban communities. And then the AMC, DRR, and Mongolia, private sector engagement in the urban disaster risk reduction has to be ensured. And advocacy is the good tools for the advocacy and resource allocation with the government. And then the more knowledge, more experience, and the more, the knowledge is required for the urban disaster risk management. Now I finished my presentation. It is hurry up. I think I have completed this one, but Nepal Red Cross Society really have the good experience in the urban disaster risk management. And then any country from the South Asia Pacific region wants to learn more, we are happy to share from the distance, from the email and other things. Thank you very much for your understanding and passion and the attention in my presentation. If any queries, we will be happy to share with you, and Durga Madam is also together with me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Catalina. Now I finished my presentation.
Thank you so much, Rudra, for sharing so much
Are you hearing me?
Unpack there from the case of Nepal. So many good practices.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
The SURE project.
Hello, hello, please. Yeah, Lucy.
Yes. Hi.
Yes, Kirti sir, please.
Hello.
Yeah, Lucy, yeah, Kirti Ray, yeah, Kirti sir, please.
I'm having a bit of trouble hearing you, Rudra.
Hello.
Hi. Just to thank you so much once again for this action-packed presentation, the case of Nepal Red Cross. So many good practices to learn from, especially when it comes to truly inclusive urban disaster risk reduction and subnational advancements with municipal governance and disaster law. We're going to move to another good practice. I invite our colleagues from Vietnam Red Cross. I think Mr. Hua is with us today, Deputy Head, External Relations and Development Department. Will present the case of urban disaster risk reduction in Vietnam with a focus on heat waves as well. Are you with us, Mr. Hua?
Good morning. My name's Hua. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm trying to upload my presentation just in case I cannot. So you already got it. I just sent to you.
Okay, perfect. If you'd prefer us to share our screen, we're happy to do that as well.
Okay, let me check. Just a few seconds. No, I cannot. I think I have a problem with upload. Maybe it's too big.
Okay. Catalina, do you by chance have the presentation ready?
Yes. Let me just try to share the screen. I'm having trouble with Teams and sharing the screen right now, but I hope this time it works. Give me a second. I will share it now. Sorry, it seems it's not working for me either. Sorry.
Okay, I'm racing to. Okay, I found the presentation. Thanks for your patience, everyone. All right. I feel like at this point it's an auspicious sign when you have tech difficulties. Then it's a real online meeting. Okay.
Can you open the Urban CBDM, please? Yep.
Yep. Open. All right.
So, yep, good morning all. My name is Hoa, I'm from Vietnam Red Cross. I'm happy on behalf of our team to share with you just within 15 minutes two actually model of the urban intervention that VNRC is working on. It's short term. I mean, like, so I'm trying to very quick brief in general. And then for technical things, and I think our team and we can have more time, another opportunities. So VNRC, you already knows that since 90s, we actually most of the urban, the DRR and community-based disaster management mainly target in rural area and target the poor people in affected most disaster-prone area. Up to 2014, with the support from USAID and through the American Red Cross, we have a partner with the German Red Cross on also the what we call the Disaster Management Committee under Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, who actually in charge of the natural disaster prevention and control, to start touching the urban context in terms of the disaster risk reduction, management, and resilience. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I think there's a slight delay, so I'm not sure now if I've skipped slides.
Okay.
Let me know if I should go back.
Okay, maybe it's too big. So yeah, that's the first point I would like to share. In terms of the Vietnam context, in terms of the urban, we actually haven't got any like a government agency actually or any bodies who actually take in charge of the urban. So far for a few recent years, only what we call we actually the member of what we call the Urban Climate Resilience Community of Practice, which actually initiated by ISET, Institute for Social and Environment Transition. Actually, that is funded by Rockefeller, and it has been implemented in most of the disaster-prone provinces across Vietnam for almost 7 or 8 years. So that's the only platform that VNRC actually a member of, where we can share the lesson learned and the experience so far. In the urban context, since 2014, we actually focusing on the adapting the community-based disaster risk management and assessment in the urban areas, where we target in most in 3 or 4 provinces in central Vietnam by adapting the tools, pilot the tools, and also starting with the hazard mapping using the QGIS and also the OpenStreetMap software, and also we also start with the stakeholder engagement workshop, and also rolling out the initiative and recommendations as the outcomes of these engagement meetings and workshops. So for Vietnam context, actually we haven't got much actually experience and the lesson learned from other bodies, institutes, or NGOs working actually in the urban context. So since 2014, what we are trying to is to actually stay on our legs to start from beginning based on what we have, and also the technical support from the Federation, and also the German Red Cross and American Red Cross, and GDPC through the coalition program. So what we actually done is to start with adapting the tools, the guidelines on the urban CBDM and DRR, and then providing rollout the training, TOT training, and also set up the resource trainers and facilitator on the CBDM. And also we also in most of the intervention, especially including the hazard mapping using the QGIS and also the OpenStreetMap. And also we also supporting the design, the approach, and also the methodology in terms of the community engagement, not using the traditional so far, the way so far, and also using the sort of the revised and updated technology, and also the urban approach. That's what we actually focus. So I think we only have a few minutes, so I'm not sure how we can rolling out with the last slide where we can show some of the photos where we actually touch on the community in urban context. Can you rolling down to a few last slide before we moving on with the heat wave FBF?
Of course, yes. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll be sure to send you the presentation so you can make sure you haven't missed everything. Okay.
I think with the technical problem, I think we can skip this and sharing the presentation later on, because in the presentation, I think I share most of the too many slides, but it covers most of the aspect. What we do so far in terms of the urban CBDM. So can you just stop this presentation and open up the new presentation on the FBF against the heat wave?
Happy to do that.
Thanks a lot.
I just see one presentation in the folder. Catalina, do you by chance have the heatwave presentation?
Yes, Lucy. Let me just try to share it right now.
Okay, great.
Just my computer is not helping today, but let's try to do it. Let me just check. Sorry, it's taking a while.
I just sent to you, I think 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago, Natalia.
Yeah, let me just check again, because I think I had it open, but I couldn't. No, can you? No, I cannot. I actually, the thing is, it's not opening. I see it, but I cannot open it.
Catalina, Jerome, can you?
Catalina, Jerome, yeah, I have it, and maybe I can show my screen, and Juan can do the presentation.
Perfect, Jerome. Thank you. Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, my computer is not helping today. Thanks. Great, now we can see. Thank you.
Okay. So again, this is actually the second, I think, what we call the best experience with VNSC in terms of the urban intervention. So the FBF here, actually, this actually supported by the German Red Cross in terms of the funding and also in terms of the technical support. So Jerome actually very much contributed to the success of this one. So the FBF actually firstly introduced to Vietnam in context, and also the team has working very hard, because this is the first time that we actually working on the FBF against the heat wave in Vietnam. And we pilot in the 3 cities and provinces, including Hanoi, capital city, Hải Phòng city and also Da Nang city in the center of Vietnam. So in terms of the intervention areas, you see that we have a lot of discussion with the technical teams from Met Office and also from relevant stakeholders in terms of the identifications of the hazard indicator, vulnerability indicator, and exposure indicators to finalize the most suitable target areas where we can pilot the APF and also make it successful. So you can see here, here it's the mapping of the vulnerability classification by word in Hanoi. So there's a different types of the vulnerability indicator. So the real value of independent population in each word common ranking from 1 to 10. So you can see different color showing different the vulnerability top rankings. So that's the basis where we identify our target words. So also the same with the exposure indicator showing the real value of population living in slum or poor dormitory and poor housing in each ward and commune in Hanoi, ranking from 1 to 10. So also this, and also with the hazard indicator here, you can see that with the support technically from the Met Office, we actually got some sort of the indicators and also some information from the Met Office on the heat distribution in Hanoi by every temperature, and also some of the maximum MGA land service temperature. So the pilot APF project target most at-risk areas within Hanoi in 12 urban districts and with 168 wards in which is shown in darker and green boundaries. So these are the main activities where we discuss and agree, and also we put in our guidelines and also showing on the recommendation and also in our SOP. The first one would be we set up the cooling centers where we are providing tents with the air condition and also the cooling facilities to support receiving those street vendors and visitors in the suffering from the heat. And we in the tent we providing cool tea, water, and some sort of the tissues. And the second photos down below, we can see that we set up the system of cooling buses. We're driving around the Hanoi capital city and also parking in the most strategic areas stop. So then we can providing the cooling items, including water, tissues, and also the ice, and also the cooling tower. So you can see here, and also we also providing some of the visit to the slum, where we also providing some sort of the basic cooling items to the affected people. So you can see here the photos where it ends the tent. Where and also in some of the offices of the local government, where we see it's proper areas where we can sharing the messages through the IEC material, through talking and communication, and showing some of the posters, some of IEC materials, and also keep sending the key message against the heat wave prevention. So, and the final products that we already finalized, that is the guidelines on early action on heat wave, and also the SOP where we already finalized the last version and already shared with the IFRC regional office and our Geneva team and technical people for comment and feedback. We are in the process of getting approval for our SOP. Yep. And also we, in the second phase of the project, we scaling up the similar procedures for 12 cities mapping. So example in Da Nang here, we already mapping it and also learning lesson from the one in Hanoi and also from other provinces. So in terms of scaling up, practical, we also scaling up the practical GIS mapping methodology that can be used for other hazards, such as flood and cyclone, with guidelines, tutorial, video manual available. And scaling up the potential early action can be easily replicated in other cities with clear SOP, illustration, tutorials, and video available. And also VNFRC advocacy and communication strategy on ABF for 5 years, where we explore funding from city and province government funding and private sector for sustainable development. So that's all. I think that's all for the short time. Thank you for listening. I think Jerome, our team, ABF team, can provide more if needed. Thank you for your patience about technical things, and thank you for listening.
Thanks.
In such a short time. Yep.
Thanks, Jerome, as well for all the support, technical support, all the way. Thank you so much for that. Jerome, do you want to say something? Or okay, yeah, I saw that you had your hand raised, so I just wanted to check that. Oh yeah, please.
Maybe I can just add. I mean, Mr. Hua explained very well. In addition to developing early action for heat waves, the Vietnam Red Cross Society have developed a standing operating procedure for managing cooling center. The procedure aims at welcoming the beneficiary, providing awareness, but as well checking on their health status, and depending on their health status to orient them to a hospital. And this SOP can be available for other national society as well. Thank you. Over.
Thanks, Jerome. Thanks. I think that's a great example, and I hope you all are getting your questions written and ready just as soon as we finish the last presentation. But not less important, and with really interesting examples from PMI and coalition building in coastal cities. So we want to welcome Arifin, who's head of the DRR subdivision in PMI HQ. So Arifin, do you want to start?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Arifin Muhammad Tadi. So thank you very much to give us the opportunity to share about the coalition building in coastal area. This focusing in the Semarang as the capital province of Central Java, and also Ternate as the capital of the province of Maluku in Indonesia. Yeah, we start with the urban challenges. So I think similarly with the other country that I think the urban is very complex, but we consider and we realize that we will facing a lot of the challenge. So, but the most challenge dealing with the sectoral echo, because as already mentioned by previous speaker, that the urban is more complex, more because we have a lot of actors. They have different system. They have different, the SOP, everything. So that's why the challenge, I think, how to synergize the all of the difference and the diverse of the actor into one commitment, one spirit, how to making more safer and resilient the city. And the next challenge dealing with we need more awareness, especially the private sector and also the community dealing with the DRR and also CCA context. And the most the one of challenge also dealing with the limited time for the coordination and consolidation among partner.
In Semarang, we have a lot of, around 78 the actor, yeah, but in the Ternate we have a lot around 45 the actors, the partner. And the other challenge dealing with the commitment and interest. Yes, we have the high interest from government, university, and NGO, but from the private sector, I think little bit low interest because why? In the city of Semarang, they have the central office in Jakarta. So the Semarang and Ternate, maybe some of them very small private sector, and the main office located in Jakarta. So that's why the difficult when we try to engage them. And in Semarang, the hazard faced by the city of Semarang, covering the tidal flood, yeah, the landslide and dengue, but in the Ternate, volcano eruption, clean water, and garbage management. And now we move to the profile of the program. This program supported by the Federation, USAID, Global Disaster Preparedness Center, and working together also with the local the government. The goal of the program is to establish or strengthen the city level coalition in Semarang and Ternate. And how the program address to the challenge? Yes, the methodology of the achieving this goal will be through and learning by doing based on the experiential learning methodology. And in this program also we publish some of the module and also guideline, also the research that conducted by university. Next. Next, please. What is the city level, the coalition? Yes, the coalition, something easy to talk, but in the practical is also a little bit complicated because we have to bringing multi-stakeholder into the one platform. They come from the government, non-government, private sector, academia, and other stakeholder. And we also committed to bringing, different objective into the most priority objective fitted with the need of the city. And we have to get the clear purpose and objective to come and stay together. And the other thing also dealing with how the all of partner can build trust, mutual respect, co-benefit, collaboration, partnership, and so on and so on. And we also try to synergize resources because they have different expertise. So we try to fulfill the gap, technical, financial, skill, and also the technical support and something like that. And the most important also how we try to get, the greater voice come from the community. So that's why the coalition is not only in the city level, but also we build in the community level, and we combine with the ICBR, the community level, and coalition, city coalition for the resilience in the city level. And we have setting up the goal and target together. Next. Next, please. The possible step. Yes, we have the 5 steps here. The first one, we conducted stakeholder analysis. So identifying where the collaboration can most add value with the existing partner and actors. And the next step dealing with self-assessment. This is more in the citywide assessment and also in the community level assessment. Strategy development, we identify the design and also implement the robust engagement process for the coalition. And the next one, positioning the role and responsibility from the partners. So we will to get very clear role and responsibility, who doing what, yeah. And the next step, organizational development. Next one. the tool that we use in the process of the program, covering the advocacy and lobbying, partnership, city-wide assessment at the city level, and we did also VCA at the community level. We combine in the top of city, yeah, led by the government, and PMI also part of that platform, and the VCA also done in the community level. And another tool, we select the sum of villages as the pilot area for integrated community-based risk reduction. And we manage a small-scale mitigation in the community level, MOU, joint agreement, and also platform on the Resilient City Coalition. And the other tool, we produce the regulation. This not produced by the government and also parliament, but the platform contribute to engage, to advocate, to encourage the government to release the regulation. Next, please. This is the one of advocacy and lobbying. This is also very important for us. We conducted advocacy and lobbying to make sure that the government, community leader, private sector, university support our program. Next one, please. The VCA at the community level is very important because as I mentioned previously, that we really need to get the real voice from the community level, and we try to bring up into the city level discussion. Next one. Next. And the participatory citywide assessment workshop. So we conducted in the two cities, in one in Semarang and another in Ternate. So we invite the all partner to sit together to identify, the challenge and also the potential, the support, and we identify also some of, the role and responsibility that can be contributed by actors. Yes, in the community level, we manage the risk mapping and also risk analysis conducted by community and also community-based action team. Next one. Next. Urban DRR plan also conducted at community level. And we will bringing the DRR plan from the community into the city level. Next. Resilient City Campaign. This is very important for us because the campaign and publication also how to make everyone aware about the program of the Resilient City. So we conducted in public and also the radio, television, and also newspaper. And MOU and coalition building for resilient, we setting up among the partner. We sign together the commitment and spirit how to strengthen coalition to achieve the more safer and resilient the city. Next. Yes, we sustain the Resilient City regular meeting. So this not only in Semarang but also in Ternate. So invite a lot of partner to sit together to discuss about the challenge and how to solve the problem and also the challenge. The IC material for the urban DRR promotion we produce and we use as the promotion tool in the community and also in the institution level. Next. And also small scale mitigation at the community level, roadblock, rainwater collection, and signboard, and also evacuation, road, river embankment, and also flood early warning, early action. So I think one of the good example here, flood early warning, the system that really initiated by the community, they made by themselves the very simple flood early warning, and already pre-tested from the last flood. Green open space for the meeting point and sheltering also built in the several community. The next one, please. Yes, now we proceed to the last. The city and village regulation This is the way how we can sustain our effort, because the city coalition actually how to promote, how to encourage the government to release the regulation that really fit it and also based with our needs. So that's why we advocate with the government to release the regulation released by the mayor and also parliament. And dealing with sustainability, yes, the city, as I mentioned previously, that the regulation signed by Wali Kota or mayor is very important. How to make sure that the all of netizen in their city really give the attention to the resilient effort in the city, and the result of the city-wide assessment. So we use as the one of reference to develop the design, grand design and master plan of development. This is also integrated with the the city development grand design. And it is also important how we try to align with how to sustain and strengthen our platform and also coalition with the other actors. That's all what I can share to this forum. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Can I ask everyone to turn their cameras on, unmute your mics, and just give a round of applause to all the inspiring colleagues today. Thanks to our colleagues at UNCRR, colleagues Pakistan, Mongolia, Nepal, Vietnam, Indonesia, and to yourselves as a very wonderful and attentive audience. Thank you so much. We are over time because there has been so much to unpack and discuss today. This gave you a smattering of a small portion of the incredibly inspiring urban activities already underway in the region. Initiatives like small grants, Making Cities Resilient 2030 are going to help us on this pathway towards scaled up urban resilience. Essentially, I would like to also open the floor to you all, even though I know we're a bit over time since the chat function doesn't work. I invite you to pose questions to colleagues.
Yeah, Lucy, thank you so much. Actually, we have the British Red Cross country representative here in Nepal. He is Kirti Ray. I think he can highlight some very few points supporting to my presentation. Kirti sir, do you have here? Can you share something?
Thank you, Rudraji from Nepal Red Cross and the colleagues wherever you are based. It's a pleasure to meet everybody virtually. I want to really highlight a few of the things why this urban DRR has been very fruitful, because as we see all these challenges that we are from, whether it's Indonesia or Vietnam, the complexity of the urban is very, very different because of the heterogeneous systems, the people, the floating population, and Nepal is no different. And urbanization is growing at like almost 17% that we saw it, and it's one of the area which has been left out for a significant amount of time, and this is high time that we catch up with the system, because when we talk about flood in urban area is something different than what we see it in the rural area. It's more of a flooding pattern, whether it is decongestion of the drains due to different plastic clogging, or the waste drainage not getting cleared up. So there are much different complexities apart from all this infrastructure with the earthquake risks and fire. So it's a real multi-hazard context what we can see it in the urban context. And complexity comes also with the other pandemic, like if you are looking at this COVID, it has been mostly urban and the peri-urban scenario where you have a very close population living and then the facilities getting overwhelmed and the health system not ready. So we have to really focus moving from the single hazard approach to multi-hazard to the multi-sectoral approach. Because unless we come up with those approaches, it will be very, very difficult, because theory speaks about, multi-sectoral approaches, but how much we have actually gone into that, that's a real reflection we have to take into it. And there are limitation of the tools, practices, knowledge, skills, and this platform is really a good way where we can exchange within ourselves and also to bring other colleagues who are practitioners to make this happen. So it's a small initiative that through the British Red Cross and the Nepal Red Cross we are doing it, and we'll be really happy to share more tools and the techniques that over the year that can be also benefit within this Red Cross movement also. So I just want to stop here. Maybe if there are any questions that we can always discuss over. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these remarks. I think that when we zoom out and return to our initial challenges we discussed this morning, one thing that really impressed me today was from these presentations, we already heard and saw so many responses to these challenges and achievements in practice at the urban level. I believe, Catalina, you have prepared a little Mentimeter for us to capture everyone else's impressions. we're much more interested in hearing your impressions of some of the takeaways. And I believe that since we haven't been able to fully utilize the chat function, we've also included room for you to pose questions specific to the presentations or the hub. So we invite you to join us on Menti very quickly. We realize we're over time.
Thanks, everyone. Maybe if you can, just sign into menti.com for those of you that don't have access to the chat. We will try to fix that by tomorrow's session. We hope to have that completely solved and to be able to have that more interaction through the chat. So if you have access to the chat, you can post your questions through the chat, or you can use also a Mentimeter here to let us know if you have any questions, anything that you would like to ask, or that you would like further clarification from the presentations today. So please let us know, and we can address those.
None. All of the presentations were too comprehensive.
Comprehensive, yeah, that's good. So if we see nothing from here, I will just then go to the next question, and it's just to ask you quickly. We should give a bit more time. Well, we're sorry for the overtime.
Yes. We will share all presentations with you, as well as any additional resources. Happy to do so. If everyone is in agreement with sharing a contact list, maybe we make a follow-up questionnaire to ask if everyone is all right with that.
Exactly, yeah. That's good. Any other questions or comments or things you want to add to this long morning of presentations? We promise tomorrow will be more interactive, definitely.
Shall we move on?
Perfect. Let's go to the last question, and it's for you to give us. Okay, we have already some answers here. Great. To mention 3 things that you have learned, found interesting from today's session.
I also was a big fan. I'm going to use this term sectoral ego in all of my future work. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We have
NCR 2030.
Innovation.
There were a lot of innovative approaches shared with us. 52 participants. Are we 52 participants, or I don't know what that refers to?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we are around 52.
Wow, nice. Adaptability, that's key to our urban context work, for sure. Family exchange, yes. It's and so much inspiring work already underway. Custom solutions, nice. Heat wave work, that's a big strategic priority moving forward for IFRC, also for us as a region. Perfect. Catalina.
Good work already, so yeah.
I am sensing that our hub network is ready for some lunch and to let all of the learnings from today marinate a bit. I think you had a request or two so that we can really hit the ground running tomorrow, right?
Yes, I will, as we don't have the chat available, I will just share with everyone just a quick questionnaire for you to select 2 of the groups that we will have for tomorrow's session. So you can choose 2 of the groups of the breakout group discussions that we will have, and you can join those teams. So your preferred options, and we will organize that for tomorrow's session. So I will send that just as we finish the meeting, and try to make sure that you get into the team that you will like to attend. So I will be sharing that through an email after our call. So I think it's been quite a very interesting morning, and thanks everyone for staying with us even 20 minutes after the time we had scheduled. But I think this will be all for today. If you want to add anything, if you want to address any questions, or if you go through the presentations or through all the things that we shared today and have more comments or questions to add, please bring them tomorrow and we can address them as well. We will have a recap as part of the first session, and we can go through those questions and comments. Lucy, do you want to add anything else?
Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Looking forward to day 2.
Thank you so much for everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
See you.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, goodbye from Pakistan.
Thank you, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for joining day 1. Thanks to all our inspiring speakers.